light.
Oh.
Welcome into this Thursday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham and Neal McCready. For those watching our live stream, we now have light. We kind of forgot that portion. It's all good. Here we go. Jeffrey Wright on the phone with us. We'll get to him in a second. He had a big night last night, so we'll get to a couple things there. But first, we'll tell you about the Oxford Exxon as we do every single day. Last day, this is it, Halloween, the free gas for a year sweepstakes. That expires at midnight tonight. So today, head on over to the Blue Sky location in Oxford or throughout Mississippi and make sure you fill up with at least 8 gallons of gas. You're automatically entered into the free gas for a year sweepstakes if you use the Mobile Rewards Plus card. So take advantage. Do that. Maybe some ribs, some lunch specials, some daiquiris, and more with the Oxford Exxon. Again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's that simple. It's right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest is up to you. You can shop it around, or you can do what I think you should do, what I've done, and that's get yourself into a Clark Ford today. You'll love the product. You'll love the service, all of that stuff, and you'll be really pleased. Corey wants to be your truck guy. He wants to be your car guy. He'll prove it to you. Call that number, 662-257-1900.
Jeffrey, congratulations, and maybe I don't know. I don't even know what I mean. It sounds like you had a couple wins last night.
Yeah. So before the series, I can't remember if we talked about it on this show or not. Before the series, I just thought it was insane that a team was plus 200 in which Max Scherzer and Steven Strasburg were going to throw 4 times. I'm not saying that like I knew for a fact the Nats were going to win, but to me that's insane. Like that should not be a 2-1 odds. So we took that. And then it so happened that I got engaged on a Wednesday. I don't know. Is that I had to ask my my friends that are high society if there's anything wrong with that or if there's any like rule against it, because I don't really know those types of things. But yes, she said yes. We went to dinner afterwards, and then I got home in like the 7th inning, and the hits just kept on rolling. And I did have a friend that accused me of proposing last night so that I could try to be in the good graces and win a bet. And I didn't care for what he was implying, but I also didn't argue with him.
Yeah, so let's start there because I'm kind of curious. You obviously have had plenty of time to plan this. Why last night? Why on a Wednesday? Why on a potential Game 7 of the World Series when you missed 6 innings?
What's wrong with Wednesday night?
I'm just asking a question. It's relevant.
The greatest baseball game in history was played on a Wednesday night. There's nothing wrong with Wednesday nights.
I didn't. Was the Cubs Game 7 on Wednesday?
It was.
Okay. So I'd been trying to kind of organize like a night where we'd get engaged and then they're not so much like a party afterwards, but like a get together. But we're 31 and trying to get, if you try to get 10, 30 something year olds, like it's just nobody's schedule lines up. And then I call games on Friday nights and it didn't really work out on a weekend. And so it was one of those situations where then it started, you always like, I mean, like, I'm not saying she has ever like put pressure on me to do the, big engagement and whatnot. She hasn't. And I don't want to give that impression. If anything, like I was putting pressure on myself to do something because of, she's really good to me and I wanted her to feel that way. But then there comes a point, it's like there's just nothing you can do. And so I went back to the basics. I broke it down. I was like, okay, what's important to her? What's important to us? And then I realized like we like to go eat and I tried to personalize it, and this was just a night that made sense. And so at that point you figure, what the hell, go for it.
Where'd you do it at?
I did it at her house.
Okay.
So I chose her house because she bought her house herself. I think that house symbolizes for her, not only putting roots here, but more importantly, she kind of, when she moved to Memphis, she was starting a new career. It was a complete, reset on her life. And I think that house symbolized, you know, that was something that she'd worked really hard for, and had put herself to where it was a tangible representation of progress in kind of starting a new career, starting a new life in a different city. And so I knew how much that house means to her. So I chose to do it there because I wanted her to be able to say, like, on top of that, I got engaged in this house.
Do you have do you have to, like, have the big ring box in your pocket, just the rings? You have to wait a while. What happened?
So I got the ring. I don't know. It's probably been 2 or 3 weeks, and I did the move where my dad went with me to go pick it up, and then afterwards I was like, they have a safe in their house, and so I just said, "You hold on to this because there's a 0% chance if I try to keep this, I'm not going to lose it." So I kept it there, and then I had my mom meet me yesterday to hand it over when I realized, like, for sure, okay, it's all systems go. I had the ring box in my coat pocket because I was afraid if I had it in my pants pocket, uh, it would kind of stick out. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the other thing. When you're 31, like, it's always nice to have this idea that it's going to be some type of awesome surprise and whatnot. But, like, at our age, it's just not a surprise. You know what I mean? Like, we've talked about this. This isn't. I'm not saying like she knew exactly, had everything planned out, but I just don't think at our age it's possible to actually do the real surprise moment.
No, there is a certain expectation for a while to where every time it even starts to maybe be a thing, there's probably a thought of, hey, might be it. You know what I mean?
Right. And I was careful to not, take any trips and whatnot, because that's like, I feel for every one of my buddies that's ever, like, it's been a while since they've been dating, and then every time they take a trip and it's like, are you getting engaged? Like, no, no, why? Like, what do you mean? It's like, well, I just know the entire ride back you're just gonna hear.
Well, I'll be honest. I thought you might have been pulling the trigger when you guys went to Busch Stadium earlier this year.
No,
I didn't tell anybody that, but in my head, I thought, yeah, it might be when he's popping it.
no, I don't, and I think I actually, if I recall correctly, I think I specifically said we are not getting engaged this week. This is not a trick. This is not some type of Jedi mind trick. I am letting you know this is not happening tonight.
Reset expectations now. I'm just telling you.
I go, if you think this is what's going to be happening, like, we need to have a bigger discussion. And, but I do distinctly remember being like, because I think some of her friends had been like, "Oh, well, this is the weekend," and it's like I remember it was like, "Nope, I gotta get in front of that." And best defense is a good offense, and so we got in the spread and we ran some tempo.
So where'd you go eat?
We went at Folks Folly. It was fantastic.
Okay.
So it's like in between our two houses. So I think that was a good spot. And it did not disappoint. The blackened ribeye was tremendous. And then she got the special that was like 2 bacon wrap medallions, and then they had a lobster the size of her head that they put on top of it. And that was fantastic as well. Stuffed with crab meat.
I mean, what could go wrong?
Turns out that works. Also, like, on top of the Cajun ribeye, they called it fried shrimp, but it really wasn't. Essentially what it was like 2 grilled shrimp that were stuffed inside a cheese fritter. And yeah, also turns out that's pretty good.
Getting questions on our live stream here as we're going through. Did you ask the dad for permission?
I did. That was actually by far most nerve-wracking process. He is a big man, and I do not mean wide. I mean, I I presume he's 6'4", 6'5". Like, like Chase and I have talked about this, Neil. Like at a certain point, like if you're over 6'2", to us, you're just like
just
it's
tall.
kind of like, yeah. There's really like unless you're like 7 feet, the difference. You could tell me someone that's 6'4", you could sit there and go, oh yeah, he's 6'7", and I'd probably buy it. Like it's just once you get to a certain point, you're just tall and huge, and that was by far a very nerve-wracking process.
But I guess it went well. He gave you permission. He said it was
He
all
did.
good. Okay.
He did. I asked her mother and him at the same time. So we had a dinner in which we brought him up to Memphis, and then we I don't remember how exactly. Like Aaliyah made some excuse because to excuse herself because that's like just another thing. Like my schedule is not regular. It's not like I work a Monday through Friday job.
Yep.
Like trying to organize some of these things that are important. Like that was something that mattered to me, and that was something that whether or not it's old fashioned, whether or not it's like conservative, I don't care. Like I do think that was something that was important to her.
Yeah,
and
sure.
therefore it was important to me. So we made that happen, and I think thus far. Oh no, my favorite moment though was yesterday, right before my mom dropped off the ring. As she was leaving, her last parting words, and remember, this ain't about you, and then left. I was like, thanks, Mom.
Was there symbolism in the two photos I've seen? Both times Aaliyah is covering up your mouth, trying to muzzle you.
No. She was actually frustrated last night in the room that we had. Like we did one of those. Volkswagen has these like private rooms, so we did one of those. Unfortunately, the lighting wasn't great, and so she was frustrated with that. No, as I've told Aaliyah, sweetheart, you better hope I never shut up because that's our moneymaker.
That's a good spin there.
That's true.
I'm
some truth to that.
Yeah, that's what's putting asses in seats, baby. So you better hope I don't ever shut up.
So to your other win last night, I know hindsight's 2020, and it probably wouldn't have mattered anyway because the Astros only scored 2 runs. I don't pull Greinke right there. He's only at 80. He's squeezed on the walk. Rendon's a hell of a player. I keep him in there.
I don't understand. I feel like AJ Hinch had himself a hell of a series. Like, I get it. As you mentioned, hindsight is 2020. It almost feels though like every big decision he made, he had like a coin flip, and he just lost every coin flip.
He was trying to get to Cole, and he didn't want to bring Cole into a dirty inning. And I think
I understand.
See, I heard an interview with him. This was what was interesting to me as I was watching the game. I normally don't listen to it's the guy, and he does Mad Dog on Sirius XM. Yeah, I normally can't stand him, and I'll flip. But yesterday, I was actually running a couple errands before I went to get Carson, and he had AJ Hinch on live, so 4 or 5 hours before Game 7. And he actually did a normal interview instead of doing that deal where he talked like this and goes, okay, give me some thoughts on that. Go. He had a normal interview. And Hinch,
I'm fine with Russo on baseball.
Yeah, he's actually pretty good on baseball. So Hinch said, I've kind of made up my mind that I'm going to let Greinke get through one jam. If he gets to a second jam, I'm going to go get him. Bullpen's fresh. These guys have been with, we've had a great season. The bullpen's a big reason for it. These guys have been strong all year, and I'm not going to deviate from that. That's what we've been doing, and I'm going to stick to it. And so I think in his mind, when Rendon hit the home run and then he walked the guy, I think he said, I had told myself before the game I was going to go get him. I'm going to go get him. I'm going to trust my bullpen. And then if I can get 2 outs here, I can hand it to Cole clean in the 8th, and we'll see what happens. And then here's the part with the Nationals that we don't do, because we always do this thing where once you set a narrative in the media, we just stick to it like sheep. Yes, they started 19-31. It's established. But since then, they've been the best team in baseball.
They have identical records, I think, since like what is it, May 12th or something along those lines.
Well,
May
yeah,
it's
now
like May 15th. They basically have not only identical records, but they have well, yeah, now they have a better record, but it was like
after Game 5 of the World Series, the two teams May 12th through Game 5 had the exact same record.
Yeah, and I think they had like extremely similar run differentials,
Yes.
and yeah, and yes, they had a bad start. They still won 91 freaking games, and if you look at what they did, knocking off the Dodgers and the Astros in 5 elimination games, and they trailed in all of them.
Unbelievable.
Like, I mean, that is good God.
I remember
Now, with the Hinch thing though, I know you maybe can't say this in like a managerial meeting or whatnot, if you have the meeting with your coaching staff, but this is where hand raise guys would be useful, into which someone would point, listen, AJ, I hear you on the let him get through a jam, and then after that, if we get to the second jam, it's game 7 and we got to make a move. But I also think, AJ, you need to consider the fact the only thing on this planet that motivates Zach Greinke is the possibility of more money. And if you let him through another jam, he's a storyteller. He's going to get through it because on the other side, he's going to find a way to make another $100 million just off this one inning.
I'm with Chase and you. I would have stayed with him, but I get it. I do understand it. And look, here's what the Nationals do. Because I remember this weekend, it was the weekend of Campbell had all the rush stuff. We were having nervous breakdowns, and Carson had a soccer tournament in Jackson, Tennessee, and the Cubs played the Nationals in a 4-game series and got their ass kicked. But what I remember about that series was the Nationals had these at-bat after at-bat after at-bat after at-bat after at-bat where they wore pitchers out. And I think that's what Hinch thought he saw with Greinke. I think he started seeing longer at-bats, and he thought they're going to get him. I need to go get him now while I have a lead. Let's let the bullpen get out of this real quick. Then we'll go to Cole, and then give Howie Kendrick credit. It's what he's had a huge postseason, and he actually hit a pretty good pitch. He just took it the other way and hit it off the pole, and the rest is history.
I mean, that's what they did to Cole, and that's what they did to Verlander, and they got 3 of 4 wins against him.
Yeah,
I mean, think about how good Cole looked in that first game, and you could tell at the end of every inning he was just spent.
Anthony Rendon does not swing at a bad pitch. Period. You might get him out.
No, he's kind of good.
You might get him out, but he's not going to get himself out. I mean, good pitching gets good hitting just about every time, but you have to be really – I think that's the other thing that, in fairness to A.J. Hinch, I think the Nationals, the part that we can't see on television, that you probably can't even see if you're in the stadium, but you can see when you're in the dugout because you've been with those guys all season. I think the Nationals wear out pitchers mentally because they have – if you think about it, between Trey Turner and Howie Kendrick and Anthony Rendon and this Soto kid who everybody can talk about whatever, he's a superstar.
Let's not leave the ghost of Adam Eaton out of this.
Adam Eaton, hell, the Yan Gomes, even they're guys who aren't particularly good major leaguers, and I put that in quotes, they have a bunch of disciplined hitters they don't chase, and I think they exhaust pitchers. I think they wear pitchers out mentally. And I think what Hinch probably saw in Greinke was the beginning of, hey, this guy's – because he had the benefit of looking him in the eyes in the dugout. And I think he probably saw the beginning of he's tired. And you got to remember, this isn't pitching on May the 23rd against the Marlins where you're just pitching. This is Game 7 of the World Series, and you're thinking a lot. Look at Scherzer at the end of 5 yesterday. Dude was mentally spent. He's on the dais at the end of the game, literally crying, sobbing. I guarantee you so much of that was emotional exhaustion as much as it was anything. That Game 7's a real deal. I mean, think of how many times as a little boy you're out in the backyard playing wiffle ball or whatever with your friends or whatever, and you all joke around and go, okay, Game 7 of the World Series. That's real Game 7 of the World Series. It's the biggest game you're going to play in your life, and every pitch matters, and it's pretty locked in. 80 pitches in Game 7 of the World Series is, I would guess, the emotional equivalent of throwing about 125 on May the 4th in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there. Jeffrey's going to hang in with us for another half segment or so in a second. First, tell you about Tyson Drugs and G&M Pharmacy. Flu vaccines available now with a $0 copay on most insurance plans. You don't have time to wait about the overworked pharmacists in the chain drugstores. So stop by one of the locally owned pharmacies where they have pharmacists available to get you in and out as quickly and painlessly as possible. For G&M, they're on South Lamar at 662-236-2222. Or if you're in Holly Springs, Tyson Drugs is there on the square in Holly Springs.
The podcast is also brought to you by Southern Craft Stove and Tap. Picks are up on rebelgrove.com. We'll probably talk about them in a little bit. It's probably not my best effort, but I was a little distracted. Southern Craft Stove and Tap, however, always gives you their best effort. They place an emphasis on food and atmosphere, mixing the quality of fine dining with the come-as-you-are environment. Featuring 30 craft beers, offering a high-quality selection of cuisine and libations, Southern Craft Stove and Tap has you covered for any occasion. Join them for lunch, dinner, Sunday brunch, or have your favorites catered out. Catering orders placed online currently receive $25 off any order totaling $100 or more. So avoid the chaos of parking on the square. Head over and experience carefully crafted dishes with your favorite Southern ingredients. Southern Craft Stove and Tap, Highway 7 and Sisk Avenue in Oxford. We have a Mind on My Money podcast is up on the site. It is brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust based in Madison, Mississippi. They've got clients in more than 20 states, advisors in multiple states as well. Founded in 1997, Pinnacle Trust provides detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. They treat investing like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. So regardless of your level of wealth, Pinnacle Trust will sit down with you, listen to your goals, study your expenses, and put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan that's built just for you. It's pintrust.com, P-I-N-N trust.com. Mention you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You'll get 10% off your first year's fee. And the mailbag was put up yesterday. It's brought to you by the Westin Jackson. It's Marriott property in downtown Jackson, home to Soul Spa, the ultimate luxury spa experience in downtown Jackson, and also home to Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro, where you can sip on a creative craft cocktail, enjoy their curated wine list. It's open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Chef Caden's offerings are fantastic. If you're passing through Jackson, if you are spending a weekend in Jackson, highly recommend the Westin Jackson.
So, just kind of curious, they're really not even messing with you. Are we still in on Baker, or what's going on? I mean, you and I have not discussed it since the NFL season started.
Listen, tough times make tough people. And if you're asking me to spin zone yesterday, I can't. Baker went with the you haven't played. That's a tough look. Now, I will say Baker had a point when the guy asked if you were happy with the drive when they didn't score. Like, I do actually agree with Baker. Like, that is a stupid question. Like, what do you do? Like, if someone asked that in a scrum and we were present, we would all agree that is a dumb question. I think the bigger problem is, like, this is just the classic ripping apart at the seams. And my bigger issue is their schedule softens. So I think they have the Bills this week. But after that, their schedule's marshmallow pillow soft. And I can see where they go on like a 6-2, 7-1 type run to end the season. And they make the decision to keep fat ass.
You think
which
they're
I think
confident
would be
enough for a 6-2, 7-1 run against anyone?
Well, two of those games are against the Bengals.
Okay.
They have a Dolphins game in there. They have 2 against Mason Rudolph. Like, yeah, I definitely think it's possible.
Okay. Where are you putting Baker just as an NFL quarterback? What tier is he in?
He is in that tier of somewhere between like 10 and 15 right now. By the way, this isn't the first quarterback that's struggled with turnovers after getting Odell Beckham on the outside.
Okay.
He's the worst. He's the worst receiver to possibly have on your team because all he wants to do is run triple moves and make highlight catches. The problem is, in the NFL, you don't really get the time to throw a triple move route. And on top of that, he's an asshole, pardon my French, and he demands the ball. So you wind up forcing him the ball to keep him happy. And when you force the ball in the NFL, it turns out that that leads to interceptions and to turnovers. I'm so happy the Giants got rid of him.
To what degree do we believe in the San Francisco 49ers?
You seen that defense?
It's good.
You seen their ability to run on anyone?
Schedule's been pretty soft to this point, but yes, they're very impressive.
Well, yeah, they're playing a third-place schedule. Guess what? It's not going to get a whole lot easier. But, I mean, we saw what they did to the Rams.
Yeah, I agree.
That wasn't fluky. The biggest problem I have with them is I don't believe in Garoppolo, but I started thinking about it. I mean, how much did I really believe in Matt Ryan when they should have won a Super Bowl?
It's a good point. Because I don't think Matt Ryan's anything special. He's an average quarterback.
I think Matt Ryan was the classic example of a B quarterback that had a career year, and Kyle Shanahan's a good offensive coordinator.
Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl with a great defense and just didn't turn it over.
Had an entire postseason where he didn't turn the football over.
How are you ranking the NFC teams at this point?
I think I'm still going to say Saints. The Seahawks are the most confusing team to me because I don't think like they're as good as like the Saints are or the Packers are or honestly probably even the 49ers. But is Russell Wilson the best quarterback alive right now?
Ooh.
He has been awesome.
Has he been better than Aaron?
They've been very similar in that they don't have a ton around them. It's a little different. Rodgers doesn't really have like weapons, whereas Russell Wilson doesn't have an offensive line. So they're having to do everything on their own, but it's like it displays itself differently. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Also, just a little Ole Miss angle there. I saw Phil Yates mention that no one this season has been targeted in the end zone more than DK Metcalf through this many weeks.
Who could have ever foreseen that? Oh, wait, all three of us.
Dawson Knox catching passes, DK being targeted in the end zone. It's a brave new world out there.
It's a brave new. Oh, also A.J. Brown is now getting open.
Yeah, he's
Turns out,
decent.
Is Tannehill like? Is this like Is this like the perfect reclamation project?
I never thought he sucked.
No,
I didn't either. And Dylan dusted off all his old Tannehill stock.
Oh,
so
he
wasn't ever
a huge Tannehill proponent.
Well, the problem is it went down so quickly he didn't even have the chance to sell it. So he just had it laying around thinking it was a paper loss. He dusted that back off and he goes, "Good to have you, boys."
I forgot about that era. He's fine.
I mean, we asked
the middle of the pack quarterbacks. It's all about fit.
Yes, that's it. Like there's, in my opinion, like who are the true difference makers right now are Rodgers, Wilson,
Breeze.
Shout out to Breeze for just dusting back off. And
yeah, he's unbelievable.
By the way, so Chase, we mentioned this on Jeff's show yesterday. So remember when we had the debate in the summer about load management for Drew Brees?
Yeah.
Does this become the de facto, like, he got 6 weeks off and they survived it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, not only survived it, but they won every game. And, like, is this going to be a net positive for Breeze during the postseason?
Yeah, absolutely, as long as he doesn't re-injure the thing. No doubt. Yeah, no, I mean, period. It's less wear and tear because I know all the New Orleans media members and stuff like that. They all was like, hey, no, he was fine. He regressed at the end of last season after that Cowboys game. That ball down the middle of the field did not have the same drive on and into lanes. It was different. So anything to manage pitch count is a huge positive right now. I think it's think it's probably the thing. Plus, their schedule compared to the 49ers schedule and the Packers schedule, that's probably going to lead to them getting home field in the postseason. Niners come to New Orleans, and the Packers and the 49ers, I think, play each other.
I believe that's correct because I think the
Packers finished third in the division last year.
Yeah, I was say I think it's the
Minnesota
third place schedule.
And Chicago.
And I think
1-2.
Yep. So they play the Packers on the 24th. That game is in Santa Clara.
Okay, and then the Niners are at the Saints.
Yes, that is December the 8th.
That is correct. Anybody else in the NFC you buy in to be a potential NFC representative in the Super Bowl?
Did you mention the Packers?
Yeah, I mean, other than those three.
Okay. I'm not sold on Dallas.
No. L.A. or Minnesota or Seattle.
I think the Rams are going to end up being fine. The question is, are they going to be fine as a 6th seed?
Mm-hmm. Well, because look, you're the 6th seed, and look, that didn't happen very. I know the Giants did it. Your road is potentially awful. I know it's always awful, but even more so given what we're talking about, where you would have to go.
And that means you're probably going to have to beat some combination, 2 of these 3 on the road. You're going to have to beat Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and Drew Brees all on the road. Good luck.
Nope.
Yeah. I'm not. Listen, hey, I would love to watch it, but good luck.
Yeah, like one of those years that Eli Manning and the Giants did it. It was they played the Bucs, and then they played Dallas, the Dallas upset was an upset. That was a good Dallas team, but those Dallas teams, the Tony Romo Dallas teams, they never really got over the hump. There was a reason for that. And then the epic.
Then he went and beat Favre.
Yeah,
he beat Favre in Lambeau.
That was a big deal. I mean, when he did that, and then they had to beat the Patriots, of course. But my point is that they did kind of get to have the training wheels on the first week.
Now, I will say, if I'm going to bet on a team to actually do that, I do think it is the Rams, because Goff and Eli are very similar in that both guys are elite downfield throwers that play with they don't really care. Like, if they throw a pick, so be it. Like, they just keep winging it. And if Goff gets hot, I do think he's the type of guy, because he's going to make throws that you don't expect, and those are kind of what flip those types of games. So if there is going to be, if I'm having to pick the team in that range of who can make that kind of run, I do think the Rams would be who I'd bet on.
Last thing before we got to go, just to finish up with a little Ole Miss. What are you expecting this weekend? The Tigers and the Rebels.
I don't. How does this game get competitive?
I don't see it. I mean, Auburn's defense is so good.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how. And Ole Miss has not been good against the run defensively. And
here's my knock on Ole Miss. Tell me if I'm wrong. Nine games into the season, and I've watched every snap. And someone says, "What's their offensive identity?" I don't know.
I completely agree. Their offensive identity changes possession to a possession.
Quarterback to quarterback.
Yeah. But I mean, sometimes, Chase, it literally changes possession to possession because they find something that works and they completely abandon whatever a game plan was, because they're just everything with Ole Miss just feels about the moment.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think they have gotten, and they would argue this, and they're probably so close to it inside it that they would tell me I'm wrong, and they would genuinely believe that I was wrong. I think they've gotten so hung up on the magnitude in their eyes of the moment of, gosh, if we could just get this win, it silences people, it gives us all that stuff, and they've gotten away from what the season was going to be at the beginning, which was development. Young team, we're going to develop, going to take some lumps, blah, blah, blah. You almost keep – it's almost like I can't believe I'm using Ed Orgeron as the example, but early on at LSU, Ed Orgeron made the comment that, you better get us now if you're going to get us because we coming, But that attitude has permeated that program. That program has an identity. LSU has a very real identity.
And I think you hit the nail on the head. I think this is the problem with Ole Miss. I think they went into the season with the right mindset. And the problem with that is that mindset never accounts for, what if we lose a couple of close ones early? Because then every football coach in the history of the world has done the grit your teeth and we just need to win. And,
and you press.
And I think every decision felt like this year was just a decision made for, like, it was an emotional decision that was made in the moment. And that's not what this season was supposed to be. And then on top of that, like, listen, I don't know if the kid's going to be good, but are we sure Ole Miss didn't run off the best quarterback option?
No,
down the road.
There's no way to know. There's no way to know. It's the part of the.
And by the way, before the Ole Miss coaching people get mad when I don't mean that they ran him off and they processed him, but their decision making led him to being run off. So inadvertent or intentional or not, that's what happened.
I think it's that deal where the Vanderbilt game became this, and hey, we contributed to it. Boy, this is a must win. What happens if? And I hate that stupid term, and you know this. We've been doing this a long time, and I did it. I'm guilty on this one. How was it a must win? What precisely made Vanderbilt a must win?
The problem with doing must win, and I'm whatever.
You know
because
what I mean?
By the way, in the moment, I completely agreed with you. It was like, if he didn't win this game, like, forget it. But the problem with must win is it does like in a must win game does not have the context of a full season, and it doesn't tell you. So, for instance, when Missouri lost to Vanderbilt, everyone goes, "Oh, that saved Mason's job." Okay, maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But as it was pointed out right after the game by, I can't remember if it was Godfrey or not, do we know if Missouri's good? Because then they turn around the next week and they lose to Kentucky, and who didn't have, who's playing a wide receiver at quarterback. And, Missouri's probably got more L's coming the rest of the way. Sure. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, just because in the moment that it was a beating off a top 25 opponent, well, that doesn't mean at the end of the year when we fully assess what the course of the season looked like, that's going to be a top 25 win.
I think
perhaps it is, perhaps it isn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think where they made their mistake on Tisdale, and look, he might end up never being anything. Who knows? He might end up being a superstar. I don't know. We'll find out at some point because someone's going to take him and give him a shot. He probably should have gotten some snaps against Vanderbilt that week after the Alabama game. But instead, they doubled down on, we got to win this, and they probably would have won it anyway. Vanderbilt was bad that night and checked out. They
didn't. That was the most uninspired effort I'd seen all year.
And I'm not knocking John Rice Plumlee here. I always feel like I'm doing it, and I'm not. But that was the night that we started to just kind of do the, hey, a star is born sort of thing. And it was slow your roll a little. That was Vandy. That was a bad Vandy team, a checked out Vandy team.
A lifeless Vandy team, like with a guy that's not even playing quarterback anymore for them. A banged up Keyshawn Vaughn. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we walked past their buses on the way after the game. That was not a despondent team. They're fine. They didn't care. They showing up, played a football game, got beat, going back. No one cared. They were really checked out that day. And my point is that would have been an ideal setting to get Tisdale some snaps, to let him throw the ball a little bit from a coaching standpoint so that you know what you have. But I think by then they'd started to dig in on this Plumlee thing, and then Corral comes back, and now they've got to appease Corral to a degree because you don't want him to run off too. Everybody talks about the transfer portal being lame or being whatever. Hey, whatever. It's real. And quarterbacks, Joey Gatewood just left Auburn mid-season. Quarterbacks are not going to hang around and let you screw with their eligibility if they don't think they have a legitimate shot to be your future. You needed to figure that out, and they didn't do it. And I don't know if it was a mistake or not, but we'll find out. It
just also felt like, okay, let's take Plumlee, for example. And I think Plumlee is kind of a representation of what this season is. And for those that are going, well, he's a young guy, you're playing a young guy. Well, yes, but you didn't apply context. He made some really big runs. He's a heck of an athlete.
Yeah.
He really is. And he was something that defenses weren't prepared for. And I feel like they had such blinders on. And I don't feel like I don't think they were looking at Plumlee through a realistic prism, because almost every single person I know that I watch football with, we were all in agreement on Plumlee. Hey, that kid is a great dynamic runner, but that's not a fully formed quarterback. Doesn't mean maybe he can't be.
Right.
I would bet against it.
Right.
But,
I would too. But I'm same way. There's room to grow. Sure.
For sure. But I think they saw what they wanted to see, and because of that, they backed themselves into a corner. And I mean, I think the other thing about this season is, all right, let's look at it. Memphis, Cal, Missouri, A&M. Those are 4 of the toss-ups. They've lost all 4.
Well, the other thing that I think happened with this quarterback dynamic, and I could be wrong, but if you go back all the way to the Arkansas game, there's been almost a message on Mondays of, hey, we really need y'all's help. We really need y'all to come to the stadium, pack the vault, blah, 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 blah. And it's always been this, just please come. And Plumlee excited fans, and he got people excited, and I think they kind of got into that a little bit. And hey, if he's the guy, we're going to get more people in the stand. I don't know. No one has told me any of this. I'm
not saying that like they played Plumlee to sell tickets, but I do think there's the coaches. Football coaches are emotional. Most of them are. Yeah. And I think they just got caught up in the moment, and they lost sense of reality. They lost context. And I think they just put blinders on. And I mean, you know how football coaches are when they think they find that leader and that special guy.
And he is
with them.
And he is a very charismatic kid. He has a lot of natural leadership skills. I mean, he does.
I mean, for all of the Butch Jones jokes, think about this. He did only give Alvin Kamara 105 touches in 2 years at Tennessee. And it's probably because Alvin Kamara is not a great practice player. He was probably pretty aloof and whatnot. And so, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I don't think Butch Jones is Alabama quit on him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's the only, I don't think Butch Jones is the only college football coach that would have been skeptical on Kamara from putting him on the field. I'm sure everyone believed in his ability, and I'm sure the common talking point was, man, if this guy ever puts it together, you know what I mean? And on the flip side, when they find that guy that they think is that, this is our Tebow. Like, when you find that, like, you almost work yourself into the position of believing in it.
Yeah. Appreciate it, bud. Congratulations.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Come back, talk about that a little more, and Neil's picks in a second. First, about Mastercut's Lawn and Landscape, premium lawn care throughout northern Mississippi, but they also do custom playgrounds, retaining walls, pool decks, outdoor living spaces, paver patios, forestry mulching, and much more. The patch your dream backyard easier than you think with Mastercuts. You get a free quote at 662-607-7773 or go mastercuts.com.
Been telling you about John Edwards with Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis for a while, and I've kind of been working with John a little bit as well. And just yesterday, I got an email from him, a handful of really creative ideas that I would not have come up with on my own. I just wouldn't have, because he's part of Virtuoso. So he referred to a fellow travel agent who specializes in that part of the country and came up with a bunch of ideas for us to think about. He'll do the same thing for you. It's really simple. You do what I did. You give him a call, 901-494-3387, or you can send him an email. It's fine too. JEdwards@regencytravel.net. You give him some parameters. Hey, here's how long we're looking at. Give him a budget. Roughly, here's what I'm willing to spend. And then you stop. You chill. You go on with your life. Let him do the work. He'll give you options. You don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. He's a great guy, very professional, very thorough. You'll love dealing with John. Give him a chance. 901-494-3387. You'll be glad you did. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. We're also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, that's the place to go. It's right off Interstate 55 in Grenada, Mississippi. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. They have great lease deals as well. Go in. Tell Gene and Sandy, and Claire, and the people there at Grenada Nissan that you heard about Grenada Nissan on the podcast or at rebelgrove.com. You'll get Rebel savings on top of the already great deals at Grenada Nissan. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. And we're brought to you by Harry Alexander. Harry is an Oxford-based RE/MAX Legacy Realty agent. He's also a big part of Savannah Square, which is a new 9-acre development, 0.7 of a mile from the Oxford downtown square, conveniently located east of North Lamar, just a short stroll from the Midtown Shopping Center. Savannah Square has a number of homes in different stages of development. You can check those out. You can check out the model home as well at 215 William Street. All you got to do is get in touch with Harry, give him a call, 662-801-5621, and then check out the site, savannahsquareoxford.com.
Podcast is brought to you by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. Underground processing is done in Memphis. They're getting local underwriting that understands your market, a leader in condo financing, and with rates as low as they've been in about 2 years. Good time to talk to Jason for that mortgage. 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com. Matt Luke, John Rice Plumley, speaking of, spoke to the media yesterday. Plumley video up on the site at rebelgrove.com.
They say anything interesting?
Plumley says he's healthy. He says the knee feels good. He did confirm it was a meniscus. That was kind of weird last week. Nobody really would say that. Plumley did yesterday. Said his first really injury he had. Said that he felt it when it happened last week in the game. That he felt something pop. Told them at halftime. They checked it out. Said it couldn't get any worse. He's all right. And then had the scope. Luber did the scope. He mentioned his name a couple times throughout the interview as well. And he was personable as always, friendly as always. Good dude.
Great guy.
Matt said nobody else is injured. No updates to the injury report whatsoever. We asked about the name, image, likeness. He gave the same comment he gave last time when California passed their first bill, just saying the SEC would make a decision and let them know. It doesn't matter. It's so far down the order from a number of ways. Number one, as we said yesterday, the NCAA didn't say crap. Actually, 2 days ago. Two, we're talking 2021 to even start putting a plan in place for this. If it gets whatever. If I was advising Matt, though, both times I would have said something about supporting the players and their ability to legally get something. I mean, is it a big deal? No, not even in the slightest. But both times I feel like it would be a really easy recruiting PR point to just kind of defend the players a little there. That's what struck to me both times. And again, this is not really a criticism. He seemed really uncomfortable even giving an answer at all on the subject.
And it's been a big talking point for months now.
Mm-hmm.
Did he seem surprised at the question?
No, not at all. I think he was expecting it. Mentioned Tisdale came to him, did things the right way, wished him the best or whatever. I asked him, I said, in hindsight, human nature, do you wish you had done anything differently with Tisdale? He basically said no. I don't know that he said no, but that was the intimation that was given.
I remember after the Alabama game that Monday asking, and I don't ask many questions on Mondays because it's just turned into this weird press conference that, quite frankly, I don't like. I asked him on that Monday, did Tisdale do anything to make you think, hey, maybe we need to give him a look too? And his answer was essentially no.
Yeah. It was great to have another competent guy, was essentially what he said.
Yeah, and so maybe, look, devil's in the details, and we'll find out. maybe in practice. And I had someone tell me this weeks ago who's at practice every day, said Tisdale had not done enough to get on the field. And maybe that's the case. I don't know.
With Plumlee, as we kind of wrap up that part of the show, he showed up here in June. He mentioned yesterday, still working, feels like passing is improving, but obviously a work in progress. The windows are so much tighter, than they were when he was in high school. I'm going to really withhold judgment on him until at least the end of next spring. Just from the standpoint of I think he's been swimming so much, and there's such a move versus everybody else having been on campus for a lot longer. I don't know that he's ever going to become prolific in that area, but
I don't
just experience-wise, anticipation, there's going to be some level of improvement there.
Yes.
I think next spring is when I really go, okay, here's kind of where I think he is at this point.
My thing with Plumlee as a quarterback is if he's going to be, I've said this a couple of times, if he's going to be your guy, you've got to build around that accordingly. But you can't have a running quarterback in this league who runs 20 to 25 times a game. That is not sustainable over the course of a 12-game schedule where you play 8 SEC games and next year Baylor. And that is not sustainable as a program, in my opinion. I don't think you can do it. No one else does it. It doesn't work. And I don't think it's going to work here either. So he's got to become a better passer. He doesn't have to become prolific, but he does have to be able to be much more accurate in the short game. You've got to be able to punish defenses that – I mean, now when everyone's going to do what A&M did, they're going to look at that game plan and they're going to copy it. And like this weekend coming up, Auburn has the athletes on defense to do that. They're not going to let John Rice Plumlee run all over them. He's going to have to take the available pass and make teams pay for putting 8, slipping 9 into the box pre-snap.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to make them pay for that when it happens. And as Avery points out here, it's people make these comparisons to running quarterbacks of the past. This is not Tim Tebow out there. He's just not that big.
No, I mean, somebody made the point earlier in the stream, how much ever he runs, whether it's once or 25 times, he's going to have to learn to be a lot like Dexter. Shield your body, understand how to take blows. I mean, that's more of the body type.
Yeah.
Is Dex.
Yeah. He's not a lot bigger than him.
No, that's about the same. That's kind of where this thing is.
And, and Dex early in his career I wasn't covering them, but if I remember, got hurt a lot.
Well, he broke a collarbone or a rib or something on a kickoff return one year, and then after that, really got better at figuring out how to deflect and be better. Yeah, he got blown up on a kickoff return at some point. I don't remember if that was his freshman or sophomore season, but one or the other.
By the time I was covering him, it was a junior.
He was a different dude at that
and
point.
He was built up.
Yeah.
I mean, stacked.
Yeah, different guy at that
Had
point.
put a lot of quality muscle weight on him to protect him, and he still took some shots.
Temperatures down in the 30s tonight, I think.
Yeah.
Chilly night for Halloween. The trick-or-treating coming up here.
I think it gets into the 20s.
And a little bit. Is it?
I think so.
We've got our Halloween competition going at rebelgrove.com. MPW Digital stealing the idea from one Gabe DeArmond at Power Mizzou for the second year in a row. I've got
it's a freeze warning in town.
Is there?
Oh,
ooh,
yeah,
boy. Good. That sounds like a good marketing slogan. Got the thread up on my Twitter. I will pin it in a minute because I haven't done that in case I start a tweet barrage at some point today if something pisses me off. So it'll be at the top. You just reply to that with preferably your kids' costumes for the day. We'll hound out some prizes and different things. We did a top 3 last year. I think we ended up awarding our 4th place finisher because someone tried to cheat in our top 3 last year. God bless all of you. And then we'll do it again. So it'll be a good time. Send me your kids' Halloween costumes as the day moves on. I see some have already.
What time are you starting your trick-or-treating?
5:45, 6.
Be about 41 degrees when you get started.
Okay, something like that.
If you finish by 8, it'll be 36. If you're one of the
I'm way done before 8 there, pal.
If you're one of the people knocking on my door at 9 p.m., number one, you're not going to get an answer, and number two, it's going to be 35 degrees.
What's your cutoff?
About 8:30, or when I run out of candy.
Okay.
And I'm not spending. I don't like the truckloads of kids from other neighborhoods getting dropped off.
That bothers you?
A little bit.
Why?
I don't know.
What if you live somewhere where you don't have a neighborhood? What do? You just don't get trick or treat because your
What's the
parents
age-
chose to.
What's the age cutoff? Like, it's cute when the little 5-year-old walks up to your door.
I'm annoyed with anything over about 11 or 12 for sure.
Yeah.
And that's in the
Carson's not
range.
going trick or treating.
Yeah, I'm going to start at least kind of putting my ears back a little if you're over 10, and then somewhere around 12.
Yeah, 12's about my limit.
Yeah, I think that's where it's at.
I mean, it's really cute when the 6 and 7-year-olds and the 4-year-olds are coming up to the door. I'm in.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, when the high school kids are coming to the door, it's like, come on.
Yeah. Sorry, I got something. Never mind. Avery asked on our live stream, what's everybody dressing up as? I'm probably talking the rest of the live stream. We've got like 7 costumes, as I mentioned earlier in the week. It's going to be Elsa tonight. It's been Elsa several times already this Halloween
It's
season.
fitting because it's a freeze warning.
The irony is that if it gets below about 85, she's freezing. She's the most cold-natured child in the history of the world. I might have to move to South Florida at some point. Because if it's below about 80, she will walk outside, tell you it's cold, and you will have to run your hands over and warm up her car seat before she gets in it. She's freezing.
A little high maintenance there.
It's a little high maintenance.
Yeah.
It could come back on a parental unit at some point potentially.
At some point, yeah.
I'm just saying.
Might want to toughen that up a little bit. Just some free advice.
But we were a witch one night. That one's pretty good. There's a picture on the internet because Dylan tweeted it out, entering it into the Halloween costume contest. However, Carlene cannot win. We were Elsa on Sunday at 2 different events with the wig and everything and the whole deal. It's pretty extreme. We've added now some different shoes and the Elsa cape hood thing that comes with it. So that's added on as well. There's a toothless costume from How to Train Your Dragon that I don't think is going to get used, but we have that. There's a ladybug costume that wore just around the house one day with some tap shoes. And then, we have our full gamut of Disney princess dresses that are just basically everyday wear at this point. So those don't really count. Elsa simply counts because of how we've added the wig and the cape and the whole shebang to that. It's interesting that everybody wants to be Elsa and nobody really wants to be Anna.
You were saying that the other day.
Yeah, I'm still getting more of that.
I'm not familiar enough with that story to be able to delve into it.
Are you not?
I'm really not.
So, just saying. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's all the costumes. I feel like we had one more, but I don't guess so. I guess that's it.
Yeah, it's kind of
She was walking around this morning with a phone playing Frozen soundtrack as she was in her dress, wearing it to school today.
Yeah.
However, there's another Elsa dress that potentially could be the one tonight. There are multiple Elsa dresses.
I kind of miss it tonight a little bit.
I asked you the other day what was going to happen.
Because last year was, I think, the last year for us. Carson threw on a baseball jersey and a Cubs hat and went out and got candy.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
I mean, he was like, I'm going to go get some candy. I was like, go for it. He's I'm just going to dress up as a baseball player. I'm like, it's fine. No one cares. But he's not doing it this year. So
you're done.
I think we're done.
You're done. That is a bit of a parental milestone.
Campbell's got a party tonight, a Halloween party, and Caroline's got dance, and she's coming home, and she wanted me to grill her a hamburger. Pretty kind of moved on. God, life has changed.
Yeah, I'm expecting 1 or 2 houses and then her to act like she has frostbite and hypothermia.
It'd be chilly.
That's what I'm expecting.
You're going to have to say, look, if you want the candy, you're going to have to tough it out.
I don't see it happening. She's soft. I think this thing's done by 6:15.
At some point.
There's one house in the neighborhood she wants to go to because she keeps saying it's spooky.
Ah.
But otherwise, I think this is going to be a short-lived Halloween.
Could be.
the temperature and the weather and our climate is not being conducive to trick-or-treating tonight.
No, it had a little climate change last night. It blew through. You could feel it happening. It was cold. It was chilly.
Cold. Just saying. I don't handle it real well either, so.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love cold. Love cold. Doesn't bother me at all.
You don't want to send Carson out just to bring back some Reese's cups or something?
No, I don't.
Take a dad tax off of it.
I can't do that.
One Reese's cup is not killing you.
No, but 10 would. And if they're in the house like that all the time, it's gonna be
You'd eat the whole
tempting.
pack.
Not immediately, but over the course
time?
of time, yeah, I probably would.
I saw this pop across 538 this morning. Candy rankings from 538.
Okay.
The top 19 candy rankings. We could go deeper, but 19's enough. Well, let's go if it's in the right spot, too high, too low. Okay?
Okay.
We'll go 19 to 1 or 1 to 19. Which way would you like to go?
We'll go 19 to 1.
19 to 1?
Countdown.
Number 19, Skittles Original. Are you fine with it in the top 20?
No, I think Skittles is one of the most overrated candies in the history of candies. They do absolutely nothing for me. They stick to your teeth. They have all the different goofy flavors. Like they get into the tropical Skittles and stuff, and I can't stand those things.
Well, we didn't say tropical. We said original.
Fair enough. Still not a top 20 candy.
It's sugar, and it's kind of gets in your teeth a little bit.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the thing for me with the Butterfinger too. So
not a top 20 candy.
I don't know that I've ever gone into a convenience store and picked Skittles. If they're laying around in a fun size, I might open it up and have a few. I don't know that I've ever gone into a store and grabbed Skittles.
I can tell you that I have not.
You don't think so?
No, I haven't. Does nothing for me.
Okay. 18, sorry. Milky Way Simply Caramel.
Is that the original Milky Way?
No, it is not.
Okay, I've never had it, so I can't comment.
I don't either. I'm more of a chocolate person than a caramel person, so I'm going to go too high just based off principle.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what else is on the list. I'm tempted to say too high, but
I might should have gone 1 to 19 actually now because we know what's, you know what I mean? Like we can grade.
We can change.
You want to switch?
Sure.
Or do you want to go keep this up?
We can switch.
You want to go to 1 now?
Number 1.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Amen.
You're fine with it with a bullet at the top.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm okay.
It's got a little bit of everything.
It's got the right chocolate thing. 2, Reese's Miniatures. The little bitty small ones.
It's the same damn thing.
No, it's not. There's a different chocolate peanut butter makeup, and there's just not as much of it. It's too high.
Okay.
They just piss you off.
Fair enough.
I want the full cup. I don't want the miniature.
Well, and you got to work to get it all unraveled.
Yeah, it's like a crawfish. It's too much work for the candy that you're actually getting.
Oh, there's my you want a hot take away from.
I know.
There's nothing more overrated in the world
than a crawfish.
Than crawfish. And I'm a Louisiana boy saying it.
I like them fine.
They're fine.
They're too much work. If I have a bowl, one or the other, give me the shrimp over the crawfish.
All day, twice Sunday.
I know.
And then the other thing with crawfish is if they're not done right, they're kind of nasty.
Well, yes. Well, think about it. Yes.
I know.
Thanks. They need to be correctly purged.
Absolutely.
To fulfill what you're looking for there. 3, Twix. It is in a mighty fine spot. I have no problem there.
It's a dash high probably, but I'm cool with Twix.
Top 5, good. No problem with Twix.
Yeah,
at 3.
I probably would not rank it 3rd.
Number 4, Kit Kat. Too high for me.
Yeah, it's too high.
I get it's a traditional classic candy bar. I understand all that. For me personally, a little too high.
I'm with you.
And you're a serial killer if you bite it and don't break them apart. If you just bite into the full Kit Kat.
Yeah. You know that person can't be trusted.
You worry about that guy in your house a little bit.
Oh,
you go, hey, I don't know.
No, yeah.
Number 5, Snickers.
Okay, I think that's too low.
I would replace that somewhere in that 2 to 4 range. Snickers it's right there. I think I might even put Snickers 1.
You're never going wrong
honestly.
with the Snickers.
I might even put Snickers 1. Because I'm not as much of a peanut butter guy.
Yeah.
So Snickers might go 1 for me.
Okay.
You ain't problem with that? You good?
I wouldn't put it number 1, but I have no problem with Snickers as high as number 2.
Okay, we're going to continue this for a minute, so let me get to something real quick. Before we do that, I'll tell you about Visit Oxford. Visit oxfordms.com/events. Bookmark the site. Check it out. See what's going on in town every single week. Football returns next week to Vaught-Hemingway, so you have all those game week operations that go on with that. But tonight, if you're looking for something a little different than trick-or-treating, maybe in Out of the Cold, Thacker Mountain Radio Hour, 6 to 7:30 at All Square Books, the Rocky Horror Picture Show screening, 8 to 10 at the Powerhouse, and then tons of stuff the first week in November. So, again, visit oxfordms.com, see where to stay, where to eat, and more, and bookmark the events page.
Podcast also brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB gives you the comfort of home, all the benefits the big mega banks provide, all the technology and products you can want, all with a personal touch. And when you call OUB, you speak directly with the live person. No 10 buttons to push, no 5 minutes to wait. They offer their customers the absolute best cash checking account. It's called Kasasa, and with Kasasa, OUB will pay customers 2.5% interest on their balances up to $50,000 and refund ATM fees nationwide. OUB also offers online bill pay and mobile check deposit using its online app. To learn more about OUB, check out Live Oxford at bankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured.
So, running through the rest of them here. Number 6, they are just killing it. Reese's Pieces at 6.
Big fan.
Are you?
Yeah. As a kid, it's this little sentimental thing here.
Okay.
There's a place in Ruston. I don't know if it's still open or not. I think it is. It's a yogurt place called Counterculture.
Sure. That's good.
And
I like that.
Yeah. And you kind of hippie and stuff. And it's kind of like my mom's place. She loved it.
Okay.
And she would always get like this yogurt parfait sort of thing. But I would get the plain yogurt, sour yogurt.
Yeah.
With Reese's Pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my almost like a comfort thing.
Okay.
And so now when I see Reese's Pieces, it's got a little sentimentality to it as well.
Number 7, the regular Milky Way.
That's too low.
It doesn't.
I'm a big fan.
It doesn't get in the same tier as the other perennial candy bars like the Snickers and the Kit Kats and the stuff like that.
Milky Way is like the Big Ten champ that everybody counts out because it's never going to win, but it's right there and it's pretty good.
So it's Wisconsin.
It's like the 3rd best team in the country. I think if you made me rank, I would put Milky Way number 3.
You put it ahead of Twix?
Yes.
And right in there with Snickers?
I think I'd put it right below Snickers.
Okay.
I think I'd go
Your
Reese's.
peanut butter, Snickers, Milky Way.
So far, I think that's how I'd have my teams ranked.
Okay. Now here, this gets a little funny, and I'm going to kind of just skip over this one because I think we're getting a little too far down into the Reese's deal here.
Okay.
Number 8 is Reese's stuffed with pieces.
And I've never had that.
Okay. But it's a Reese's cup that has Reese's Pieces in it. I mean,
come on.
That should be thrown out. That should not qualify.
The people at Reese's should have to pick their favorite one and put it into the competition.
Yes. This is like the SEC getting 3 teams in the playoff. Like at some point,
well,
guys,
this is like
just
Alabama
grab 'em.
going, hey, not only are we going to play our team, we're going to play the B team in this deal too. No, you're Alabama. You get one entry.
Take your 11 and go to the go to battle.
Right.
Number 9, peanut butter M&Ms. Too high. Even in the top 10, too high.
Yeah. 'Cause if you can only have one M&M the rest of time, which M&M are you taking?
It's peanut, but it's peanut, and it's not close.
What's number 2? This is where I have a hot take.
I think it's the original.
I love the pretzel M&M.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No one else loves it. I love it.
Well, see, because this is
I hate the pumpkin M&M.
I haven't had that. So I'm going to skip ahead here a little. 11 is the peanut M&M. That's way too low.
Way too low.
That's a top 5, top 6 candy right there. Peanut M&Ms are way up there.
Yeah.
Way too low. Annoyed by that.
Agreed.
Number 10, back to it, Butterfinger. There's a traditional element to it that I'm fine with it around that area. I don't love it, but okay. It's fine.
I'm okay around 10. I probably would have Butterfinger ranked higher than that.
If it didn't get stuck in my teeth, it would be like 4 or 5. It's dropping 5, 6 spots because of how it gets stuck in my teeth. I cannot stand it. My grandmother used to bake a Butterfinger cake, that was exceptional where you do the chocolate cake and you poke the holes in it and pour the Eagle brand down in it.
Oh, yeah.
And then put the whipped cream and all and then cover it with Butterfinger pieces.
Oh, wow.
Oh, some real stuff there. But, yeah, otherwise, I'm not walking in and buying a Butterfinger at the convenience store.
Okay.
I'm not.
As a litmus test, that's a good one.
That is good.
I have occasionally gone in and bought a Butterfinger.
Have you?
Yeah.
Number 12, one of the healthier candy options, Three Musketeers.
Oh, and I would put it in the top 10. No
Okay.
doubt. It's a solid candy bar.
It's a good candy bar.
Yeah.
No huge issues there at all. 13, Starburst.
No, come on.
It's like Skittles for you. You don't like chewy fruit stuff, obviously.
Now I prefer Starburst to Skittles,
Okay.
but no.
Does it matter on the flavor? Like if I told you just had pink or red or something versus the orange or the yellow?
If you tell me I can have just the orange and just the yellow, I'm okay. After that, I'm kind of done.
Okay. Yeah, I think orange is my favorite and pink is my second favorite. I like orange kind of flavored stuff though.
Yeah.
That's fine. Number 14, 100 grand.
It's a good candy
Just
bar.
off taste, that's too low.
Yeah, it's
Just
good,
off
it's a good
taste, that's
candy
too
bar.
low. It doesn't. It's not a popular one. It's not one that's going to get talked about. It's one your kid will probably sell when he does candy bars at school.
I know people who say it's number one.
Oh, is there a kind of a cult following for the 100 grand?
It has a fan club.
Okay. 15 regular M&Ms.
Yeah.
But we're at 15. Is it too low at 15?
It's a little too low at 15. Because again, you have gone into a convenience store and bought some M&Ms.
At some point in your life, you bought some M&Ms.
Yeah.
Or if you're at a game and you only have 2 or 3 options, you grab some M&Ms.
I'm gonna let you finish your list because there's some things that are missing that I'm beginning to wonder.
We might can get to those in a second.
Okay.
Because it goes to 86.
Well, I'm not going that far, but I want to find out where some stuff is.
Number 16, Crunch Bar. Too low.
Oh, that is too low.
It's the better of the crunch. It's better than a crackle.
Oh yeah.
It's too low.
Yeah.
Crunch is a top 10 candy bar.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you're the people at Crunch, you're upset today.
And then at 17, the one we didn't come to before, 18 is Milky Way Caramel, and then 19 is Skittles Original. And this is way too high because I hate these things. At 17, the Rolo.
Oh, the caramel with the chocolate around it.
Yeah.
That's way too high.
Not a fan.
Give me a break.
Not good there.
Where's Baby Ruth?
It is not on this list for the top 19. Hold on. I'm going to find you a top 86. I think it's on my phone, so everybody just chill for a second. All right, I'll run through these and you stop me. Let's do it that way because I'm not going to 86. I was talking about it. We've been here long enough. Number 20, 20 is Crackle, too high. Because Crunch is better and it's an imitator.
Yeah.
Get out of here with that.
Agreed.
Milky Way Midnight at 21, too low. I like dark chocolate.
Yeah, I like dark chocolate too. I've never had the Milky Way Midnight.
22, Sour Patch Kids.
Stop.
Don't even bring that in the
Come
conversation. On. 23, Snickers Crisper.
Snickers what?
Crisper. I guess there's like a wafer or something in it. I don't know. Never had it. I have no idea.
Yeah.
25, Junior Mints.
No, I don't like those.
Sorry, 24 is Hershey's Dark Chocolate is 24.
So where's the traditional Hershey bar?
I haven't gotten to that yet.
Okay.
Yeah, let me just kind of... Gold Bears, the Haribos are 26. Come on.
Come on, man.
Oh, here's your candy bar. 27, Baby Ruth.
See, I think that's way underrated, but I have a little sentimentality to it.
Hershey's Regular Milk Chocolate, 28.
My mom's a sweet tooth person.
Okay.
And when we were growing up, she would hide candy all over the place.
Really?
Yeah, for herself. And we'd search for it. And so whenever I would find a Baby Ruth like snack, little mini bar or whatever, I was like, yeah, cha-ching.
All right. Let's see.
I look back on that now. I bet that pissed her off when she'd go look for her candy
and it's already
gone.
gone. The Hershey's Milk Chocolate bar is too low because it's just a classic candy bar. It's way too low.
Well, people, you buy those s'mores and
now
stuff.
we haven't gotten to it. Hershey's with almonds is personally one of my top 5 favorite candy bars.
Yes.
Personally.
Big fan.
I get why it's not a top 5 on the list, but it's one of my top 5.
I'm a little surprised there's no Almond Joy yet.
Hershey Kisses at 29, whatever.
Yeah.
Nerd, Skittles Wild Berry at 31, Milk Duds, Swedish Fish. Okay.
Nope.
Again, my top 5, number 34, Mr. Good Bars. I love Mr.
Those
Good
are
Bars.
The peanuts.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I love
yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Good Bars.
When I was in high school.
It might be the one I grab in a convenience store more than any other back when I would do that. I'm a little scared of it now.
I always save my change and stuff, and I'd go get a candy bar at the end of the lunch hour, and that was my go-to.
All right, looking for anything interesting. Almond Joy comes in at 39, way too low.
Way too. That's a solid candy bar.
Yeah. Let's see. Tootsie Roll at 40,
Gross.
Whopper, Tootsie Pop, Mounds at 43. At least it's behind Almond Joy.
Yeah.
Gobstopper, Mike and Ike, Payday at 47. A lot of people like Paydays.
Okay, I kind of like Payday. That's way too low.
Okay.
Like they would be in my top 25.
Twizzlers at 51.
Nah.
Again, just kind of switching through a little bit. Werther's at 58. Oh.
Yeah.
Laffy Taffy at 59 is too low.
Too low. I like Laffy Taffy.
That's too low. That's not good.
Yeah.
Now and Later 62, Lemonhead 64. I mean, we're getting into some bad
You're
candy
getting into
at this point.
into the candy that the cheap people
Candy
buy.
corn at 67. A lot of people disagree about candy corn. It's at
Where do you stand
67.
on candy corn?
I'm an interesting one because I don't go crazy in either direction. I don't like it, but you're not going to gross me out with it.
Yeah, we talked sports for almost an hour.
Yeah, almost an hour. All right. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
That's what we do. Sorry.
A honeycomb bar. Never heard of that. I
don't have
remember
that
the
on
cereal.
Here. Red Vines at 70, Ring Pop at 72. Yeah, a lot of weird stuff here toward the bottom. I'm trying to go through and figure out like what the worst candy bar is or worst candy is that's something we all know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like skip through some of this stuff, and it looks like what they think is the worst candy is a Good and Plenty.
I don't know that
most
I've
people
ever
it's
had
a little
that.
hard, kind of yeah.
I don't know.
Let's see. I'm looking.
It must
If
not
you don't
have-
count that,
it might have never made it to Ruston. Good and Plenty.
yeah. Anyway, okay.
I like candy corn. Okay.
I didn't see a zero bar on here or a whatchamacallit.
Ooh, I like the zero bar.
Yeah, I didn't see either one of those on there. So
And I remember watching McCallets. They were good because they were in the convenience store. They were in the little vending machines at Ruston High School, home of the Bearcats, firmly founded.
So we didn't get to Nils picks, but that is up on the site at rebelgrove.com. You can find that if you would so wish. We got captions and picks and all sorts of stuff from some mediocre pickers.
Yeah.
So we'll
We
be back.
all suck.
Yeah, we're very average this year.
Yes.
It's not going as well as it does in the past. We've typically been pretty good.
Games are harder to pick this year because the league's bad.
Yeah, it's a weird deal. So anyway, appreciate all you sticking around with us, and we will talk to you again tomorrow to close the work week. Happy Halloween. Stay safe. And we'll talk to you tomorrow.